Sai Ram. I'm sure all of us have had experiences in life when we feel that people are being unfair to us. Worse is the case when they cheat us, and even worse is when they bring harm onto us. In many of those instances, these people are rich, powerful, influential, holding positions of authority, and we feel that there is nothing we can do to stop them. We feel so helpless and powerless, and fear fills our heart. Though we are right, we feel that we cannot speak out because after all, might is right. It is precisely in such instances that we experience the grandeur, the magnificence, and the power of God's love. Swami says, "Why fear when I am here?" My mind travels back to those days in 2003 and 2004 when Swami had called us in for a Trai session. A Trai session is when Swami calls all the students into his own residence at Trai Brindavan in Bangalore, and many things happen there. That day, Swami asked a senior teacher to address all who had gathered. This teacher picked a very reassuring theme. The Lord never sits silent when injustice is meted out to his devotee or any harm is done to the devotee. So he narrated the experience of a devotee. After narrating this experience, he concluded with a thumping statement. He said, "If the Lord is criticized or even harmed in any way, he may forgive you. But if the devotee is even touched, you are finished." And we were also thrilled listening to that. There was an applause, a round of applause for that statement. And Swami was looking at this teacher. I remember he told him to repeat that statement once again. And once again the teacher said, "If the Lord is criticized or harmed, he will forgive you. But if his devotee is touched, you are finished." The experience that I am going to narrate is that of Anantappa. It has been recorded by none other than the legendary Professor Kasturi. Now, Anantappa was a peon in the Davangere college which was being headed by Professor Kasturi. He was not so intelligent, not so smart. He was in fact a little dull and would find difficulty in doing even the simplest of tasks. But the only reason Professor Kasturi still retained him was because of his unbelievable love for Swami. Anantappa loved Swami and was devoted to him with all his heart. In fact, on many occasions at Prashanti Nilayam, Swami would give special gifts of grace to Kasturi to give it to Anantappa. Swami had once mentioned to him that Anantappa's house in his neighborhood was like Vibhishana's house in Lanka. Lanka, the kingdom of demons, where Rama went and annihilated Ravana. Swami said that his house is a center of positivity, divinity, and goodness and nobility, and it spreads it in the entire neighborhood. Now, such an Anantappa got his younger daughter married to a person who was working in the Southern Railways. Now, though this person was smart and talented and earning a lot of money, he did not believe God so much, and he didn't seem to be a good person at heart. He constantly suspected the loyalty of his wife. Therefore, he would lock her up and even shut the windows of the house because he felt that she would look at men passing on the road. That was not all. He would also keep beating her on a regular basis. A point came where she broke down and told her father, "I cannot live with this man any longer. I daily get beatings. I'm locked up like an animal in a cage in my own home." That is when Anantappa pleaded with his son-in-law, but it was to no avail. Finally, they told this son-in-law, "Let's go to Sathya Sai Baba and he will tell you the truth about my daughter." They placed complete faith in Swami to do the best, and surprisingly, the son-in-law agreed. And that is how Anantappa with his entire family, his daughter and son-in-law landed up at Prashanti Nilayam. Swami called them for an interview. And in the interview room, even before anybody could speak anything, Swami looked at his son-in-law and said, "Your wife is as pure as Mother Sita. She is as noble as Mother Parvati. Take good care of her." Now Swami's omniscience struck hard at the son-in-law's heart. He nodded in Swami's presence. But then, after a few minutes of the interview, the demon of doubt entered his head. Doubt is a demon that we must keep out at any cost, because the damage it can cause is terrible. The son-in-law suddenly got up and said, "You have fixed up all this thing. You have told Baba before that we are going to come here and that he should speak like this, and Baba has agreed, and you are all carrying out a drama in my presence. I don't care about this. You are trying to trick me." He said that, and in a huff, he walked out of the interview room, slamming the door shut. A petrified Anantappa looked up to Swami. Swami simply smiled and said, No, he will take good care of your daughter." All of them took namaskar and the interview got over. Now this son-in-law was plotting his revenge because he felt that he was being tricked. He decided that he would take the torture that he was doing to the next level. Now since he was a railway official, he could get good seats free of cost. Still, he booked for himself in the first class compartment and put up his in-laws and his wife in the third class compartment in the train. The train started from Penukonda and began to move towards Bangalore. In the train, Anantappa knew that something was wrong, because of which his son-in-law was giving such bad treatment to them. But surprisingly, once they got down at Bangalore, just as Swami had promised, this son-in-law was an epitome of goodness. He began to treat his in-laws with lot of love and care. He began to take care of his wife. In fact, he would get home his monthly salary every month, hand it over completely to his wife, and take a few rupees as his pocket allowance. This is what happened to the man. One day Professor Kasturi was waiting at a bus stop, and that is when he saw a horse cart pass by, and a person from the horse cart waved out to him, "Sir, please come and sit along with me." Kasturi recognized this boy as one of his students who was an atheist. But now this student began to ask Professor Kasturi about Swami, how to go to Puttaparthi, his Leelas, his Mahimas, everything, and Kasturi was surprised at this transformation. He asked his student, "How come you are wanting to know about God and Sathya Sai Baba in particular?" The student revealed an amazing incident which is also connected to Anantappa. This student had been posted as the head of the railway station at Tonde Bhavi. Tonde Bhavi is a railway station that comes in between Penukonda and Bangalore. Every train had to pass by that station in those days. At Tonde Bhavi station, in the middle of the night, this boy sees the first class compartment door slam open, and out jumps the senior officer, the husband of Anantappa's daughter. He jumps out, he's wriggling in pain, and he's telling, "Please save me, please save me." Anantappa's son-in-law was seated in the compartment plotting his revenge. That was when suddenly, about 10 kilometers away from this Tonde Bhavi station, the train lights began to flicker and all of them turned red. This person got up, looked around, there was nobody in the compartment. Suddenly he saw Swami, and not one, not two, 4, 5 Swamis. Swami's eyes are redder than those bulbs that have become red. Swami comes to him and says, "I told you about that little child, about that little girl, and you're not ready to believe me? You're plotting such things?" And then Bhagwan began to rain blows on this man, punched him, hit him, and there was nothing he could do. He was reeling under the onslaught. His heart was trembling with fear. And then Swami said, "You raise your finger also on that girl, see what I will do to you." And the next instant, the lights turned back to normalcy. There was no Swami in the compartment. The train came to a halt at Tonde Bhavi station, and this person ran for his life, threw open the door and jumped out and narrated his whole thing to his junior there. No wonder when they got down at Bangalore, he was a transformed person. In all our lives, situations will come like this, where some people seem to be getting an upper hand because they are rich, powerful and influential. Let us always remember that the supremest power in the universe is our Bhagwan. When we have God's love backing us, we have nothing to fear. We have nothing to fear. We just have to ensure that we are pure at heart and we are doing everything out of love for God. Once we do that, they are not taking conflict with us, they are taking conflict with the Lord. That was the discovery of Prahalada, that was the discovery of Mirabai, that was the discovery of Tukaram, that was the discovery of Tyagaraja. May that be the discovery of each and every one of us who enshrine God in the deepest recesses of our heart. May we love Him stronger and more intensely every passing moment. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.